The United States government is shut down, and there's no political path to reopening it in sight. Tens of thousands of federal workers are being furloughed. Important government functions have ground to a halt. And here is the messaging about it all coming out of the White House.
Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bullshit. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us.
Okay, that was obviously AI generated, some Lincoln Douglas debate level stuff, Dan. The next vote to reopen the government will be on Friday, October 3rd. Then the Senate is off for the weekend and back on Monday. In the interim, Russ Vought, the OMB director, announced, quote, the cancellation of almost $8 billion in green energy funding to 14 Democratic-run and 2 Republican-run states, and the freezing of 2 massive infrastructure projects in New York City worth $18 billion combined. Russ Vought may also reportedly begin mass firings of government workers in a day or two. Dan, how do you think the shutdown is going politically for Democrats at this moment, and any sign of an endgame?
There's no sign of an endgame. I mean, there is some reporting that there are some Democrats, we're talking to some Republicans briefly on the Senate floor, but about possibly maybe an extension, like a clean CR, like a clean extension of funding for like 7 to 10 days while there's some negotiations on healthcare. That doesn't seem to be going anywhere. It's not what the White House wants. It doesn't seem what the Democratic leadership wants. And so we are where we are right now. I think the Republicans think it's going very well for them. And I'm not entirely sure they're right. At this point, at least, you have a new poll out today from the Washington Post, which shows by a pretty large margin, voters think that Trump and the congressional Republicans are responsible for the shutdown. And it's interesting how the Post does these polls because it's a fully text poll and they will include sometimes what people respond with from like the verbiage. And a lot of the people who think that Republicans are responsible is pretty simple. It's because they control all of government.
Right.
And so I think Democrats' hand's a little bit stronger than I think a lot of people, including the Democrats, think it is.
Well, let's debate. Yeah, the poll found that 47% of voters think Trump and Republicans in Congress are mainly responsible for the government shutdown. 30% blame the Democrats. 23% have no idea. There's this video of Senator Bernie Sanders and AOC like kind of walking through D.C. where they're talking about the shutdown vote that's gotten a lot of traction on social media. And it's a great explanation of the healthcare fight that is ostensibly the reason for this whole thing. The gist is that starting in October, tens of millions of Americans are going to get notices that their health insurance premiums are going to go up, some by as much as 75% or even double. That is because a bunch of tax credits passed in 2021 during the Biden administration that increased healthcare subsidies and expanded the number of people who can get them are about to expire. So Democrats are demanding that any government funding bill extend those subsidies, and they're also demanding that Trump roll back all the cuts to Medicare that were in the big, beautiful bill that passed earlier this year, which, let's be honest, that last part is just not going to happen. But kind of complicating this messaging for Democrats, Dan, is that there's a lot of Democrats who are arguing like we shouldn't fund the Trump government for any reason, given the ICE raids, given the lawlessness. In other words, there's a lot of messaging about how this is bigger than just healthcare. And then, of course, Republicans are lying. They're saying Democrats are fighting to give healthcare to undocumented people. That leads to this like racist video that we just saw with Hakeem Jeffries in a sombrero or with a mustache or whatever. And that's drawing Democrats into this dumber fight about Trump's tweets and whether they're racist and whether they're inappropriate, which is not the ground we want to be fighting on. We want to be fighting about healthcare, but it's easier for the press to cover dumb tweets than it is like complicated tax credits. So to me, it's a bit of a muddled mess.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mess. These things are always a mess, right? I lived through one. You were in the White House when we had several near shutdowns. We saw this. We were podcasting together as we have been for nearly a decade when Trump shut his own government down for more than a month. They're always messy. And I think that there is a lot to nitpick Democratic messaging around it. But here are the things I would say the Democrats should be doing that aren't necessarily happening. One, don't follow Trump down every rabbit hole. Like, we do not have to have a big giant fight about AI videos. Two, stop worrying about the blame game. Right? There is so much of our messaging firepower right now is saying, it's the Trump shutdown. It's that we didn't shut it down. They control government. It's just, that is an argument. You should just call up Jake Sherman at Punchbowl, a couple people from Politico, and just have it with them specifically, as opposed to, it's not your message to the American people. It's a dumb message. Like, from a purely strategic point of view, we're in the shutdown right now. We can debate, as you have on the Tuesday pod, as John and I have on the Friday pod, as we've done in the various videos, whether healthcare was the right thing to have the shutdown over. Mm-hmm. But we're past that now. That's where we are.
We're shut down.
And so now that we're in the shutdown, what the whole goal here is, from a legislative perspective, is to try to get these tax credits extended. From a political perspective, it is to use this moment where people are paying attention to show them that we are fighting to make their healthcare more affordable. They have not seen us fight for anything, let alone fight to lower their costs, since this election. And so this is our chance to do it. So every time you're talking about anything else, whose fault the shutdown is, who's negotiating, who's not negotiating, why videos are racist, you're missing your one best, perhaps last opportunity before the midterms when people are paying attention to deliver a real message.
Yeah, and I think my fear on the messaging is that Trump, because he has the bully pulpit and all these, messengers out, and he's got the conservative media ecosystem, that he's running circles around Democrats right now when it comes to messaging. That's in part because, he's frankly just very good at this. He's very good at commanding attention. He's very good at doing 2 or 3 events in the Oval Office a day that turn into these kind of unruly press conferences with friendly reporters and just dominate everything. It's also just a fact that the Democratic leadership does not have great messengers. Like Chuck Schumer is not great. Hakeem Jeffries has been frankly just not great in a lot of the interviews I've seen. They're trying, right? Like they're trying to fight digital fire with digital fire. Actually, let's just watch the ways that Democrats are kind of getting into the meme game here. Here's a video from Hakeem Jeffries.
The president's been posting some images of Leader Jeffries and Senator Schumer.
I saw
recently. You've said that you're interested in good faith negotiations with these leaders, but what message does that send? Is it helpful to post pictures of Leader Jeffries in a sombrero if you're trying to have good faith talks with him?
Oh, I think it's funny. The president's joking, and we're having a good time. You can negotiate in good faith while also poking a little bit of fun at some of the absurdities of the Democrats' positions, and even, poking some fun at the absurdity of the Democrats themselves. I mean, I'll tell Hakeem Jeffries right now, I make this solemn promise to you that if you help us reopen the government, the sombrero memes will stop.
So, look, I guess that's fine, but it's kind of just making JD Vance's point that it is actually okay to kind of poke fun at the absurdities and release. I mean, I guess my fear here, Dan, is that the only way voters are really going to turn on Trump is if they feel economic pain as a result of his policies. And the problem is we are the responsible party. We actually don't want healthcare premiums to go up for people. And so we are fighting to bail Republicans out on an issue when no Republicans voted for these tax credits in the first place. And so there's some reports that a bipartisan group, as you said, might be getting together to talk about an ACA fix. But I doubt it'll be as part of the shutdown because they're all dug in now and they don't want to give Democrats a policy win. But it's a challenging setup.
I listened to this conversation on the Tuesday pod, and I have a lot of thoughts here.
Please.
I 100% agree with you that in some sense, Republicans are about to do something really, really stupid, really politically painful, and we are trying to stop them from doing it, right? They want to fuck over their own voters, and
Big
we're
time.
like, no, do not do that. And they're stop trying to unfuck over our own voters. But a couple things. One, we are not, let's say we solve this problem. We help 15 million people, including some people whose health insurance premiums could go up by $20,000 a year. Let's say we help those people. We will just have done a good thing. That's great. We have that we are in this to help people. And if we can do that, we should. 2, we're not going to have any shortage of things to go after Donald Trump, the Republicans on for having raised costs, right? Costs are up. People are pissed about it. No one is missing this. Right. And so that unless Trump is going to undo all the tariffs and somehow magically fix the inflation he's created with the tariffs by November, people are going to feel economic pain. More importantly, and long term, we have a huge stake, not just as former Obama people, but as progressives in the Affordable Care Act working. And these tax subsidies went a long way to bring more people into the process, to make it more affordable people, to make it more sustainable over the long term. And so if we have a chance to fix that, we absolutely should. And I don't think it comes at a great political cost because I think they can pay a huge price for all the other things they did come election. They did not repeal the Affordable Care Act in 2018, but they still paid a giant price for it. The same thing can happen here.
Yeah, look, I agree with you on all the policy merits here. I'm still sort of struggling.
I feel like you're down, Tommy.
I don't think we have a great hand. I don't think the messaging is clear. I don't think we have nimble messengers. Hakeem Jeffries' office is doing live streams that are getting 50 viewers. They're trying, it's the messaging piece of this has always been my biggest concern. And we have some great messengers, AOC is great, Brian Schatz, Chris Murphy, John Ossoff, frankly, was really great when we had him in here the other day. And I want Democrats to keep swinging. I'm just I'm a little worried we're getting worked right now, and Republicans are successfully lying and saying this is about Democrats giving health care to undocumented people, and that is bullshit, but it's breaking through.
I mean, this could end poorly. I'm going to stipulate that it absolutely can end poorly. It can end in a world where Democrats just concede 5 days from now without getting anything other than some fig leaf of a potential negotiation one day. That absolutely could happen. I think that the messaging feels worse to those of us who are in the bubble and seeing every day. Like, we're the ones who know that Trump is trolling us by playing the sombrero video on the White House briefing room TVs 24/7. Like, we know that. We are seeing all the clips go around. And in some cases, because we're on Twitter and you guys bizarrely mainstream Fox all day long in the office, you're seeing sort of the worst of the Democrats. It's, I mean, you love the five. For most people out in the world, they're catching very little of this, and
almost
they're catching,
nothing,
But the thing that I would just say is, if you look at Trump's numbers, he is a very, very bad messenger for the rest of the country, other than people who are already on board with him. Like, the people that he gained if you look at this from the New York Times Siena poll, I wrote about this in the message box the other day. If you look at it, where Trump is bleeding support is with all the people he gained ground with in 2024. He is
voters
right now,
of color, Latino voters, right?
young voters, like all the people who were like kind of Trump skeptical were like, yeah, maybe this guy could actually lower my costs and make my life a little bit better.
But they were
He's
pissed at
losing
Biden,
those people because he hasn't done it. And like we are treating this, I think, in our head, I think a lot of Democrats are, as if we are fighting right now the Trump who won the 2024 election. That's not the Trump we're fighting right now. Right now, we are fighting the Trump who lost the 2018 midterms. His approval rating right now is the same number it was in polling, the Gallup polling the week before the midterms in 2018 when they lost 41 seats.
Yeah. Your lips to God's ears, my friends. And of course,
I'm just trying to, like, you feel down. I feel it's an uncomfortable position for me to be the glass half full person in any conversation, but
you hate this. I mean, and also we're over a year until the midterm elections, so there's just God knows what will happen between now and then. This video is brought to you by Simply Safe Home Security. John, do you think Simply Safe's proactive protection is good enough that it could have stopped Joe Biden from stealing the 2020 election?
That's what Sidney Powell tells me.
That's a joke. No, probably not. But Simply Safe can stop an intruder from breaking into your home with its proactive protection that confronts criminals while they're still outside. With Simply Safe, the moment someone steps onto your property, AI-powered cameras detect threats while they are still outside your home and alert real security agents right away. To get 50% off your new system, go to simplysafe.com/crooked. That's simplysafe.com/crooked for 50% off. There's no safe like Simply Safe. Also, Dan, there was some other big news this week because for some reason, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick decided to sound off on his theories about disgraced pedophile and close friend to Donald Trump, Jeffrey Epstein. Let's watch a clip of that.
I mean, that's an incredible story that you could pick up that he was a pervert.
It's gross. The guy's gross. Right with my wife. He's gross. The guy's gross. This was not, the deep nuance of Howard Lutnick. This guy's gross.
Right. So how come Bill Gates and all these other people could hang around him and not see what you saw? Or did they see it and ignore it? Or
no, they participated.
Right.
That's what his MO was, get a massage. And what happened in that massage room, I assume, was on video. This guy was the greatest blackmailer ever.
So that seems to beg the question why Trump didn't immediately pick up and get the ick from Jeffrey Epstein the way Lutnick did. And in bigger picture, I mean, these comments from Lutnick completely contradict Trump's Justice Department. They completely contradict the FBI, which in July said there was, quote, no credible evidence that Epstein blackmailed people or had a client list. Also, FBI Director Kash Patel has said that there's no credible evidence that Epstein trafficked women to other people beside himself. That is contradicted by the accounts from many of Epstein's victims, but it is the official position from the Trump FBI. Dan, what the hell is Howard Lutnick doing here? Why is he sounding off on Jeffrey Epstein to a New York Post podcast? And do you think this is enough to make MAGA voters care again? It seems they've kind of moved on.
I think that if there's one thing I know about Howard Lutkin, he is a man of great integrity,
Lutnick.
and I think he's whistleblowing here. He has decided he can't take anymore. He must let the world know. Honestly, I have no idea. I think he is a moron. He's probably right. I don't know if he's right about the specific deals cut over with the videos, but he is saying what everyone has thought and what everyone in the MAGA world thought before. Is this going to make MAGA voters care again? I don't know. We're still at the moment where people may start caring again is when the House has to vote on this, because it's eventually at some point they do have to seat the newly elected Democratic Congresswoman from Arizona, and then when you do that, there will be enough votes for the discharge petition, and there will be a vote on this.
And Speaker Johnson is just refusing to seat her to avoid this vote, it seems.
Yes. And it's honestly, we want this vote to happen after the shutdown anyway, so.
That's a good point. And then final thing, Dan, we just wanted to quickly explain to all our viewers today what you can get if you give Donald Trump a $400 million bribe in the form of a luxury jet. We learned this on Wednesday. The White House released an executive order that announces a new security guarantee for Qatar, the country. It says, quote, the United States shall regard any armed attack on the territory, sovereignty, or critical infrastructure of the state of Qatar as a threat to the peace and security of the United States. And it also says that in the event of such an attack, the United States shall take all lawful and appropriate measures, including a potential military, in quotes, response. This sounds a lot like an Article 5, the Article 5 provision in the NATO Charter that says an attack upon one ally is an attack upon all. Quick reminder that last month, Israel bombed Doha, the capital of Qatar. So I guess under this plan, we'd be at war with Israel right now. Dan, does America first mean American troops dying to defend the sovereignty and critical infrastructure of Qatar?
Apparently it does, and it also means a $20 billion bailout for Argentina and a bunch of sweetheart deals for Chinese companies and the Chinese, and a bunch of really sweetheart deals with Middle East-based sovereign wealth funds and real estate funds. It's also worth noting that it's not just the jet. Like, Donald Trump's not so cheap that he would use U.S. military just to pay for this jet. He also has a $5 billion deal for a golf club in Qatar that is backed by a government-backed real estate fund. So what he's doing is he's using U.S. military lives, U.S. treasure to protect his golf club in the event of an attack.
Yes, so you're right. I guess I undercounted the amount of the bribe, and for that I apologize to the Qatari government.
So please apologize to Trump,
all of it,
Kushner,
everybody.
and the entire family.
Eric Trump, Don Jr., everybody. Yeah, America First is now the U.S. going to war to defend Qatar. As you mentioned, the U.S. providing a $20 billion bank bailout to Argentina. I guess we're going to reinvade and reoccupy Afghanistan because Trump wants Bagram Air Base.
Don't forget Venezuela. We're at a
Marco Rubio's
war over there.
Pushing for regime change in Venezuela. Donald Trump is going to govern the Gaza Strip for the foreseeable future under this peace plan he put forward on Monday, if that goes through. So America first, baby. Just messing around everywhere. Good stuff. Okay, that is it for this Pod Save America YouTube exclusive. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to Pod Save America here on YouTube. As you may have noticed, when you search for political news in the YouTube algorithm, you get right-wing crap. And when you subscribe to Pod Save America, you help us surface good information in the algorithm. So please do. Also, it's free.